and have fun too. And it started to go downhill when I was introduced to dabbing, so the very high potency marijuana.
Yeah, you're going to educate me if you don't mind me to interrupt you.
Oh, you're good.
The teacher may ask you questions. So what is dabbing? Is it you smoke it?
It's a waxy kind of, looks like earwax or kind of glass, like a shattery substance. It is. And it's basically highly concentrated THC.
Yeah. So how do you get that in your system?
You smoke it, you burn it on this little dial, and you heat it up. You can even put it on a metal spoon and heat it up and suck it from a straw.
So you ingest it? Like
You ingest it. You so like a little. It's called a nectar collector. It's a little glass pipe that you suck.
You breathe in.
You breathe in it. You breathe in it. You smoke it.
inhaling.
Yeah.
You're inhaling it. You're
Yeah.
not like swallowing it.
No, you're inhaling it.
You said, okay, gotcha.
And it's I was smoking stuff upwards to 99% THC,
Wow.
and sure enough, that led to something called cannabis-induced psychosis. And I was hearing things, seeing things. I was confusing dreams with reality. I couldn't tell if I did something or if I actually dreamt that. Was that yesterday or did I dream about that? It was such a bizarre feeling. The thought became that my thoughts were disorganized. I was having persecutory delusions, like people were following me or people were trying to get my information or all this crazy stuff. And so I stopped smoking, and I've been sober for 5 years now. But I kind of did some research on what happened to me. I was like, what was that? What did I go through? Then I coined the term, or I found the term cannabis-induced psychosis, and didn't even realize the adverse effects. Like upwards of 50% of people who go through cannabis-induced psychosis end up developing schizophrenia at some point in their life. Schizophrenia or bipolar, which is long-term psychosis. And I didn't like my odds being determined by a coin flip at all for my sanity. So I was hospitalized for a suicide attempt, and I had to get all these tests, like MRIs, IQ tests, to make sure my brain was functioning properly, because that's how paranoid I was that I destroyed my brain. But sure enough, now I'm back working, going to school full time, doing well, but you know, there isn't that thought in the back of my head where am I in the clear, or you know, what has weed done to my adolescent brain, and has it affected my memory, my ambition, my goal-driving behavior? And you don't worry about those kind of things when you're a teenager. You don't think long-term at all. And it's problematic because when I was a teen, I drove high a bunch of times, and we have a guest here who's lost her daughter because of a accident related to intoxicated driver. And then I ran an intersection while I was high, and I could have easily T-boned somebody and taken somebody else's life just like that. And I was talking to somebody earlier about we have no sympathy for drunk drivers, and it should be the same with cannabis-induced intoxication. And kind of going on a tangent, but it's a terrible drug.
I appreciate you sharing your story. We need to put that on. He's been recording. Yeah, we need to record that, and that needs to be an ad in Missouri.
He's been in touch.
Wow.
Well, you're right. It should be that.
Wow, that's
Well,
great.
the
Are you
truth-
related to him?
No, real quick. My son, he had lots of cannabis-induced psychosis episodes, and he finally took his life in 2018. He was 29 years old, and one of the last articulate things he said to me was, "Cannabis has ruined my life." He took it. He called it his medicine. Yeah, thanks. And I know of about 50 very similar situations. Yeah, that were very similar. I have two big posters from Mom Strong. I have a very similar situation.
And what's crazy is that.
Yeah, no, 50, and that's, you know, obviously it's an extreme case, but I know of you know, hundreds and hundreds of less extreme cases that just, you know, are terrible.
Each life is valuable.
Oh, I know. So,
I'm so glad you're here.
I know.
You're doing well.
Yeah, me too.
That's such a
Yeah.
hope.
And it's crazy because you don't even have to have a background of mental illness to develop psychosis from marijuana. That's one of the biggest misconceptions, is you're predisposed to have a psychotic experience, but you're finding a lot of people can have psychotic experiences without even having a familial
I
history.
learned that recently, you're reading more about marijuana, because it's schizophrenia, anxiety, all this stuff. I'm like, wait a minute, because the impression from the high school kids back in my day, they did it was like, yeah, it just kind of chills you out, you know. You don't associate marijuana of being attacking, violent behavior, schizophrenia, all this other stuff, which is once again a PR, you know.